So I'm going to show you what my hybrid class looked like from spring of last year when pandemonium set in. And if you hear dogs barking, I apologize ahead of time. So this is the home page, and I set it up so that announcements are here, the syllabus and schedule is here, and then the course summary is here. You can disable the course summary, but you might want to leave it up. And then I put everything in modules. So one of the differences between an on-ground class and one that's fully online is you probably want to have a discussion board just so that students can put questions in. That way, if you're being asked the same question multiple times, the answer is right there. And don't forget to subscribe to that. This is the student view, by the way. And my students wanted to do, I think, to build some study groups. So I put this in here in case anybody wanted to try to build their own study group. Sometimes there's lots of people, sometimes there's none, but you know, it's out there for them. And then everything else is in modules. So I put the week, the topic, and then the dates as well. So I'm going to just scroll through these so you can see how I set them up. And I'll stop talking as I pause through them. Oh, and this is where I started doing these timed case studies because I wasn't meeting with students on campus for this hybrid course. It's fully online, asynchronous, which was, you know, kind of unusual at the time. So I found the timed case studies quite helpful for a lot of them. And there was an optional Kahoot review there in week 6. So I did try some group work. I had varied success. You can try that if you want to. I encourage it. You know, all the pedagogy encourages it. But if you find after doing 1 or 2 maybe that it's not working, then, you know, try something else. And you'll also see that I don't have discussion boards in here every week. It's not a law in education that you have to have a discussion board every week. So I tried to do them on the kinds of things that I did in bioethics just to get the students talking to each other a little bit. And I did find I did 4, by only doing 4 in the class, that people were generally highly participatory. And I picked things that I think were, I don't know about controversial, but certainly interesting. And there was a lot of food for thought in them. And I'm a fan of nutrition. I realize not everybody loves nutrition. So one of the discussion boards I did, oh, there it was on food security, GMOs, and healthy food. And I'll go and show you the body of those as well. But if you, I can send you that as well if you want to use my discussion boards, or at least start with mine. So the video lecture compilations do include all of these websites to aid in your studies as well. Hillary put all of those in a document together for me. So I'm pretty sure that you two have both taught and taken a good amount of online classes. So, there's always this initial one about introduce yourself, and I put dates in them for an initial post and then 2 other posts. And I also put in, they got to be on separate days. I got a rubric from someone in math, and this one is just kind of all about me and my interests. And then I gave them multiple things to answer. And I did that in a lot of the discussion boards so that we didn't just have 20 people answering, 1 or 2 of the same questions. I think it created a more dynamic discussion, which I'll show you in a different one. So this one was about a quarter of the way through the course, and I think at this point they'd already talked about cardiovascular system, and my thinking was cardiovascular disease is one of the leading killers in our country. So I also included the rubric, and instead of saying, I did up here. So I gave them, you have to post once by Sunday, and then the other couple of posts. And I think the thing that was a little different for me, maybe than some other times, was this is a hugely open-ended question. So there's lots of ways to go. And I got some really good debate. There were some definite Republicans in the course. There were some libertarians. There were some Democrats. As you can imagine, this one on vaccinations was hotly debated. And I gave them lots of things to look at. And then in the discussions, I gave them several topics and said, you pick 3 that are really interesting to you or that you want to talk to other people about. And interestingly, we did have a couple of students who had not been vaccinated. Their parents did not believe in vaccination. And my students had a really good, intellectual, kind discussion with each other. And I feel like they really did learn something from it. And there were a few students who had children who got into the debate of, I can see why your parents didn't vaccinate you. I decided to, and this is why. But it was really respectful. I was really proud of them for that. And then this was the last one I did right after we'd finished the digestive system and nutrition. And again, I gave them several different prompts, and they could pick 2. So that also, I felt like, for the most part, people participated pretty well. And I think they were more likely to do so because we did this 4 times, not every single week. I think you could probably even do every other week, but I'm not sure I would do every single week. I also tried to kind of front load these things so that the last few weeks of the semester weren't as busy as the beginning and the middle part of the semester. And then 2 other things I started doing once we were all forced to go online last spring was when I did live online lectures, I posted those from my students. It doesn't mean that you have to. It was just something that, some of them talked to the kids that were in my on-campus or formerly on-campus class, and they said, if you could, we'd love to see them. And I was doing Kahoot reviews with my in-person classes, so I just posted it here as an optional. You can do it if you want to.